In this section, we discuss the positivity principle perspective, which is important because it takes you out of the frustration of limited thinking and puts you into the fascination of possibility thinking. As we dive into this, I encourage you to keep in mind how you want your life to be different as a result of this course, and to reflect on how being able to identify possibilities will help you to achieve it. Consider this. How many arguments have you had with someone simply because you're coming at it from different perspectives? Yes, it's possible that you're perhaps maybe even both wrong about your understanding of the situation. But what is more likely the case is you are both correct, considering the vantage point from which you're interpreting the situation. One of my favorite examples of this is a cartoon where two people are arguing about how many logs are on the ground. One says that there are 4 logs, while the other is insisting that there are 3. But if you take a step back, it's entirely clear that they are both right, considering their limited perspective. Another example is of a view of the Great Pyramids in the seemingly secluded desert of Egypt, but when we move the camera back, we realize it's not quite secluded after all. But this doesn't only apply to photographs and cartoons and arguments with family, friends, or colleagues. It also applies to your own internal understanding, processing, and managing of your life circumstances. And this is especially important when life surprises can perhaps bump into you and perhaps leading to unwanted consequences spilling out. These experiences don't need to lead to a bad day, week, month, or year. To ensure positive experiences, all you have to do is widen your perspective to consider all the possibilities. A number of years ago, I met a woman who nearly died while choking on her food. She was an elderly woman, and the person who saved her life was a bystander who happened to know the Heimlich maneuver. But being a woman of her age, the paramedics who were called feared that she may have broken a rib in the process of being saved, so they brought her to the hospital to be checked out. Think about this. You're enjoying dinner with loved ones, and then you nearly die by choking to death. In one moment, everything is fine, and in the next moment, your life can be over and you didn't even get to finish your dinner. So this woman was having a very bad day. It was now being rushed to the hospital. But what happened next is why I'm sharing this story with you. The doctors and nurses didn't find any broken ribs, but what they did find was an aneurysm that was about to burst. They said that if she didn't come in when she did, she wouldn't have survived. It can be said that there's nothing positive about almost dying at a dinner party. That it's better to be happy than sad, better to be at peace than in chaos. But just as choking on a piece of food can turn a seemingly bad day into a life-saving event, I would suggest that sadness and grief and chaos and anger can all lead to positive experiences, so long as we're willing to take a wider perspective. Here's a rhetorical question that I'd like you to consider metaphorically. What are you choking on? And how might you look at it from a new perspective to transform your experience of it? Perspective skills can be honed in a number of ways, but one of my favorite practices is something called the awareness game. And to play this game, you simply identify everything that you're aware of in any given moment. It may start with something you see or hear, but then it may expand to something you smell or taste, and perhaps the physical sensation of something that you're holding in your hands, or the emotional sensation of something that you're holding in your mind or your heart. This game isn't about casting judgments or categorizing these things. It's just about taking note of them and holding an awareness of them. As you play this game more and more, you'll find that you eventually become aware of things that have been there the whole time, but had previously escaped your awareness. Perspective doesn't ignore the fact that there may be genuine problems within your circumstances, and it also doesn't help you to magically avoid taking responsibility. But what it does do is help you to see through the apparent problem so that you can see all the opportunities that are available to you through possibility thinking rather than limited thinking. In the next video, you're going to watch a segment from a live presentation I gave on this topic. But before you move on, in the comment section below, describe a negative situation that you personally experienced and outline any details that you may have missed at the time. Next, describe at least one positive outcome that happened as a result of this experience. For example, consider the elderly woman who had to be hospitalized for choking on her food, but whose life was saved as a result. You can type your response, or you can make a video and share a link in the comment section below. After leaving your comment, respond to the posts of at least 2 others with a comment that may include what you liked about their post, share a related idea or story, ask a clarifying question, or offer an opportunity for growth. I'm looking forward to seeing your responses.